Hi Wildcare friends, I hope you can hear me. I'm Stephanie's director. Excuse me, it's been a long day. I'm Wildcare's director, and I am here in our seabird pool room. The filters are running, so it might be hard to hear. But I was just showing you a white-winged scoter, which is a type of sea duck. We typically see them in the winter months, and that's because they breed in the western part of Canada and up into Alaska also. And so they're not typically here in the summer. We sometimes will have non-breeding adults or immature birds that are here, but the bulk of their population is here along our eastern seaboard in the winter months. They winter here. And so they're a type of sea duck. They're absolutely beautiful. I'm going to turn the camera around and talk a little bit more about this bird. So this gorgeous sea duck, this is called a white-winged scoter for those of you just joining us. And this bird has a beautiful bill. This is an adult male, that gorgeous bill with the coloration on it. And if you can see, there's a white crescent pattern around the eye. And they have like these light blue, almost white irises, which are absolutely stunning. And this bird, white-winged scoter, those are its white secondary feathers, which give this bird its name. You can see it is a very black duck. Its coloration is very dark, quite stunning. And the bill, it's a heavy bill with an interesting shape and really sort of barrel-shaped nostrils. You can actually see, if you look through this bird's nostrils, you can see over to the other side. And there's a few reasons for that. So this sturdy bill is primarily for plucking mollusks from the ocean floor. They eat a lot of mussels, and they actually swallow them whole. And imagine they will eat some fish, and they'll eat aquatic invertebrates in more northern areas, but here they're mostly eating shellfish. And so imagine when they are on lakes and ponds breeding in the north and western Canada and have their bill in the muck, they don't want to get anything trapped in their nostrils. So they have these incredibly, you probably can't see it, but it's amazing. You can see through the nostrils to the other side. Absolutely love these birds. They're so beautiful. So shellfish eaters. And this bird came to us, it was brought to us by two wonderful people who found the bird in the road in Woods Hole, and they had seen some blood on it. Having a white-winged scoter in the road is not normal. As I mentioned, here in the winter they are sea ducks. They're primarily found on oceans and estuary salt marsh areas. And so it's possible that this bird suffered some internal injury due to a dry landing. We sometimes find that in the winter, when there are poor weather conditions, we believe that some species misinterpret pavement for water. So this bird may have had a crash landing thinking it was landing on pavement and that it was water. Or perhaps the bird was blown in with some of our recent storm events and it could have been hit by a car. We're not entirely sure, but it is recovering well, doesn't have any fractures or open wounds, and what a beautiful, beautiful bird. So it's here in our seabird pool. You can see it's mostly waterproof, which is an important part of the process. Imagine we can't release birds back on the open ocean in the winter, or even in an estuary in the winter, if they're not waterproof. It's important. When birds are not waterproof, they tend to fixate on those areas, and they end up preening and try to regain the integrity of the waterproofing. And sometimes that brings them to shore because they're fatigued, or worst case scenario, they're losing heat from those areas that are not waterproof. And that quickly can be a death sentence for a bird. They end up grounding themselves because they can't stay in the water. Their body temperature will drop. I hope this all makes sense. Look at this beauty. I hope you can see at home their gorgeous eyes. Let me see if I can zoom in a little more. What a stunner. So male white-winged scoter, for those of you just joining us, this is a sea duck that we see here primarily in the winter months on Cape Cod. They winter in the Northeast, and then they breed in Western Canada and up into, I believe, Alaska. So, so beautiful. And if you have a chance, go to Cornell's website, Cornell Lab of Ornithology, type in white-winged scoter and listen to their calls. It's very cool. It's like it sounds like part chicken and part of it's a whistle. And what my staff and I find fascinating is that this bird is a saltwater bird here in the Northeast in the winter, but when they go up to Canada to breed, they are on lakes and ponds near boreal forest. Then they will actually nest on the ground in areas, sometimes they'll nest in brushy areas, and lay 9 to 10 pinkish eggs. The male stays with the female throughout the egg laying process, but then is not responsible, leaves and is not responsible for any care of the ducklings. That's all up to mom. Also, you want to look up white-winged scoters on the Cornell website and look at the difference between the males and the females, because they actually do look quite different. The male is really the exquisite one for this species. So we're so grateful to have these pools, which are a really important part of the healing process for any of our aquatic birds.